Today I'm here with John from Space Station Gaming, a pro player and champion of Season 5 of the ESL Mobile Open, with a pro tip video for you guys talking about different air attack strategies, how to be successful with them, and how to pull in 3 stars. What is up, my friends? My name is Echo, and I am really excited today. First of all, because Space Station Gaming are the champions of Season 5 of the ESL Mobile Open, but not only that, because I have John with me, and he's going to break down 2 different air attack strategies from the new meta that he used to pull in that victory in Season 5. John, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing really good, Echo. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. Now, first of all, before we talk about the strategy, how does it feel to be a champion?
Oh, I mean, it's really good. We've come, as you know, we've come close to, whether it's qualifying for Worlds or runner-up, semi-finals, and so many tournaments. So it was definitely good to get kind of the monkey off the back and get the first title under our belts.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you and the whole team and the whole family. It's really exciting for me as well, being part of that. So I don't know, I'm excited, but we're here to talk about the attack strategy. So as I can see right here, you're using that new Zap spell. I want to hear about the composition, about the base that you're attacking. Just fill us in. How do you see so much success with this?
So the key to the Zaps, why they've become so popular, is they've gone down to 1 space mainly, and they also got more concentrated. So you'll remember, as I'm sure a lot of you will, that lightnings used to be very varied. So they'd shoot once and they'd shoot 3 tiles over, then 2 tiles back. Now they're concentrated, so they do the same damage in a certain radius. So what you can do now is you can actually very easily take down the CC and surrounding buildings up to 2 tiles before you start the raid. So usually as well, because the CC is centrally placed, if you can take down the CC and 1 or 2 defenses around the CC, you kind of cut out the core of the base, which, as we talked about last time I was on with the LALO, once you've cut out a section and then you sui another section, you sort of break the ring of the base and you can work in kind of like an L shape around the base a certain way. I
got you. So for someone like you who was a huge fan of LALO before, this is like a dream come true for you with these new Zaps, right?
Yeah, I'm going to stop sucking because it'd been a rough kind of like month before that.
Well, now it's in your favor. So talk to us about this base. I mean, I'm noticing the clan castle with that scatter shot right there. Is that how you start them things out?
Exactly. And as you look, because the RC is there, if you time the Zaps correctly, the Zaps will also take down the RC. And I'm also going to take down that wizard tower there. So as you can see, I said the radius is 2 tiles. Everything there, if you wait for the RC to be in the middle there, I'm going to be able to take down all of that area, because there's not a gap bigger than 2 tiles in that little section.
Wow, that's like crazy value from those spells, leaving you with not a ton of spells left over for the back end, but the value that you get out of those is huge.
Yeah, and for example, 2 of the biggest things that you need to spend spells on with LALO are poisoning the CC on the fly, which can often also require a freeze. So that's 2 spells right there. And then if you want to take down the champion or the queen, and you don't have, a blimp Electron or a blimp Dragon Rage or whatever, you need a Rage Skelly. So that's 3 spell space right there.
Right.
So I'm taking down the CC and the champion. So right there, that could potentially be 5 space, even if I was just doing a regular LALO, just to take down those 2 targets. To take it down with no timing required, essentially, takes a lot of the things that can go wrong with a LALO raid out of the equation. And then obviously a scatter is huge value for a LALO too.
Yeah, that sounds like a no-brainer. Any last things you want to tell us about this base? I mean, you did just kind of mention all the value you're getting from those lightning spells, but anything else you want to mention before we actually watch the attack?
No, I can commentate the sui as we go.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's get into that. All right, John, the attack's starting. Tell us exactly what's going on.
Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to use the RC after the Zaps, and that's going to take down all of those defenses in like the 430 area. So my goal was for the RC to go in, take down the cannon, the archer tower, the cannon, and then go in for the eagle. And at the same time, I funneled the mortar that's over there at fire, kind of 6-ish, and I'm sending an ice golem of my heroes into that section, with my goal being to take down the queen with a double wall break, which is quite obviously good value, but also quite difficult. Now, as you can see, straight away, I'm not getting the value I really wanted because the Tesla farm popped there. But I knew that if I got the Sui value that I wanted, I could still kind of overcome the base.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
as
definitely.
everything starts to go in, you can see I didn't want to use both my frees here, but again, because the value on the Sui was so good with it, I knew that it was worth using the second freeze, which I'm about to do just now. And then because of that, the queen is going to get the other scatter, the sweeper, and the queen, the enemy queen, which is obviously incredible value. I've taken down both scatters, both heroes, the sweeper that I'm going to LALO into. The only thing that didn't quite go as planned was not getting the eagle, but honestly that is significantly less important than the scatters because the eagle is so much slower.
Yeah, I mean, the value that you grab, everything about what you just mentioned was value. Hero value, spell value. I mean, like you said. Now, what do you think about the new Lava Hounds too? Do you see a big difference in that extra level of Lava Hound, or is it the same?
Slightly. I wouldn't say big, but yeah, there's definitely a slight difference for sure.
Okay, and I noticed you have a dragon coming out of the blimp with some loons.
Yes. Often I would bring goblins, like sneaky goblins, and a Lava Hound. But just because there was a gap there where there could have been small bombs to take down the sneaky goblins, and because I didn't really need that, as you can see from the Lala, I've still got quite a lot of loons left up. The only thing that was actually going to be a bit tricky here was potentially time. So I didn't want to bring another tank when I was already potentially a bit worried about time. I wanted to bring something that would do damage.
Right.
So the dragon actually clears quite a lot of trash, as you can see. Like if you were to go back and people watching the video to watch the video again, like it would be, the dragon easily took down 8 or 9 trash buildings in the middle, which was much more valuable than getting a bit of tank when I had, what does it look like, maybe 7, 8, 9 loons left up. I didn't need the tank.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
That was why I took the dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, the cleanup is pretty nice. The base was really funneled down nicely. And, you know, a lot of times with LALO, there's trash all over the base for cleanup and you're relying on pups and minions. But this time around, it seemed like it was more contained and there wasn't stuff everywhere. You didn't have anything hiding in corners. Now, question for you, especially regarding the beginning zap that went on where you got that massive value. Obviously, base building has changed, and this update came pretty close to the ESL Mobile Open Final. Do you think that base building was a little bit behind, or these things weren't thought of, or how did that go?
I think, well, that's a lot of questions you just asked in one,
I know, I'm sorry.
which is fine. But what I would say is that because I don't think the update took anything away that was, you know, viable as a 3-star strategy, and I think it added extra strategies. So I think it's at the point now where you really can't defend everything. Like something is going to triple the base. So for example, that hit, whilst it tripled, with how he had trapped it, like the Tesla farm there was really good. Like that could have easily messed me up if I panicked. And the Sui was quite ambitious, right? I don't think a lot of people would necessarily have tried that Sui. So it's hard. It's always easy when you win, especially, and it's easy as the defender to say, "Oh God, that base wasn't very good."
Right.
But there's so much that can triple now.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. You have so many, even with the new super troops as well, you have different options to bring into attacks, especially if you're into kill squad attacks with those new super witches. But the more options you have for attack, the harder it is to base build and defend against all those different options. So I think you did a good job answering that question, and yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at.
Did my best.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's go check out. You have another attack, another air attack, different strategy though. So let's go break that one down for everyone as well. All right, John, so we're here against Coastal Clash again, the second war, your second attack, and you're using another LALO, but this time Electron LALO. Very different base, different composition, not taking advantage of those zaps. Tell us about this one before we get into the actual live attack.
Yeah, so, I mean, just to build on what we were saying about the previous attack and about base building, this is quite an old meta attack. This was, you know, beginning of Town Hall 12, like very popular attack, the double clone Electron. And because people are building to defend some of the newer stuff, it opens up some of the older stuff. So again, it's just going back to how many different ways you can kind of skin a cat. I don't know if you have that phrase in American.
Yes, we do.
So what I noticed straight away is I noticed both sweepers pointing away from the kind of 6-7 o'clock position. And I see that there's a queen there, there's an eagle there. there's a couple of wizard towers there, potentially 3 wizard towers if it goes well. So right away I see that, and you can see again, we always talk about that pathing when I've done these videos.
Yep.
You can see that just takes most of a huge chunk of the base out of the equation, which could set up for very good pathing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send my Electron in from kind of like the 6 to 630 position. And then again, what I notice here is the scatters are away from the other value, which usually would be, again, in general, that's a really good base building rule to follow, right? You want to separate the value. But the problem is when you have something like an Electron, you have the king and the queen. So that's one area where you can get value. You have the Electron, that's a second area. And now with Town Hall 13, you have the RC, which is a third area.
Right.
So what I'm actually going to attempt to do is I'm going to take all that value out with the Electron. I'm going to try to sui for 1 scatter, and then I'm going to, with my king and queen, and then I'm going to try and get the other scatter with my RC, like the last attack, taking out both scatters, the eagle, the CC, and both air targeting heroes.
Well, that is ambitious. That's a lot to do before you even send it to LALO, but I want to check it out. And again, you're talking about all the value you're getting from each stage, and I say it all the time in my videos, Clash of Clans is a game of value. The more value you get from each of your troops and spells, the better your chances are of 3-starring. We ready to take a look at this one?
Yeah, ready when you are.
Let's do it.
Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is sending a few tank loons in. To take down these archer towers and also look for bombs. I'm going to pre-poison so that the queen is slowed down a bit, and I also kind of catch the CC. I spread the clones a little bit there. If you highlight that, that's important because it means that the loons split both ways rather than all clumping up together. You can see that the dragon took down all the value I wanted, and it's going to take down both headhunters, which is going to be very important as I'm suing my heroes. That would really suck to have headhunters coming out.
Yeah, it's
attacking my heroes.
So cool talking about headhunters now. New meta, you gotta love it.
Exactly. As you can see here, I'm starting my my heroes. I spread the queen a bit because that wizard tower didn't go down, which I was expecting the wizard tower there to go down, which she's targeting, but it didn't. So I spread the heroes to make sure I got all the pathing I needed. And again, as you can see, there's a huge chunk of this base disappearing already.
Wow.
The Tesla farm is popping over there, which is just increasing the value. So it's even more value from the Sui heroes. So I'm being as patient as possible with the queen ability now. The archer tower goes down. And now I'm just waiting as long as I can to pop the queen. Unfortunately, I have to pop her on the skelly, which isn't ideal. But as you can see, with the archers aggroing the RC, the queen's going to be able to take down the RC. And I send my RC in, pop the RC ability and the freeze, and you can see that the RC is indeed going to go get the scatter. Wow. And that's, what are we at, 49% for just the Sui.
Oh man,
so it was quite, that was a nice one. I was happy with that.
You sound proud of that one, I have to say, right now as I listen to you.
I was very, I was very happy with that one.
And now you just LALO the second half of the base. I mean, it's already cut out for you.
Exactly, and actually it's a very awkward LALO in terms of the pathing and what's left, finishing on the town hall, there being a multi there, but there's just not enough base left.
Yeah.
Like even though the LALO pathing is it's not great, and like I'm finishing on arguably 2 of the defenses you'd least want, which is the Giga and a multi. It just doesn't matter. There's just not enough base left.
Well, it seems like you were confident enough that you'd be able to get those first 3 stages done effectively, so then the LALO would just have enough power, even if it wasn't the optimal pathing.
For sure, we knew this is definitely a little riskier than any of us would typically go, because ending on the town hall in a one-hit format is obviously not ideal. So the backup plan was if anything went wrong with the Sui, it was just going to be send everything into the town hall together, basically.
Bum rush the town hall.
And just save the 2-star, which again carries risk, but it paid off this time.
No, it did. I'll tell you what, that was an incredible start to the attack. And something that you mentioned that I want you to talk about again really quickly, because we went over it fast, was the Electron, the splitting of those clone spells. It's something we don't hear said much. Maybe a lot of my audience hasn't heard about that, but splitting the 2 spells, talk about it.
So when you have an Electron, you're usually sending it into, again, not always, but usually, especially if you're using 2 clones, you're sending it into quite a compact area of the base, right? You see a lot of value. That's usually why you want to do it. So, but because it's compact, the last thing you want to do, especially if there's, a queen a CC, which could have a bunch of junk in it, like archers and headhunters, or I think single inferno. I can't remember if I said that. So any of those things, you don't want them targeting your E-drag early. So if you spread the clones so that they overlap a little bit, but they're kind of side by side, almost like a Venn diagram, or or just overlapping circles. Yep. What happens is that balloons spread every single way around your E-drag, and nothing, again, unless you get really unlucky, nothing targets your E-drag.
Right, and that seemed to work out really well here. And that's a tip that, like I said, I don't think many people knew, which is why I wanted to go over it again. But, I mean, I'm rewatching the attack now. I mean, your Electron value was insane. You didn't even need your queen, really. The king went in and took out the scatter shot on his own, and then the queen just kind of protected your royal champion there, grabbed 50% of the base. And yeah, I see what you're saying now. The LALO, if you didn't get everything you wanted, you could have just gone straight into that town hall because the top portion of the base was pretty safe. And at the end of the day, you did have your safe bet 2-star just in case.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last time as well. Like, it's always good to have a backup plan, like, unless you're doing a heavy entry at the town hall. You've always got to have a backup plan for if something goes wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And guys, if you missed any of the previous pro tip videos, I had John on for one, plus a bunch of other people from Space Station Gaming. Really valuable videos if you're looking to improve your attacks. All of them are at Town Hall 13, but you could take a lot of the tips that they're giving and kind of implement them to other Town Hall levels as well. This is end game right now, but a lot of things that we learn along the way, we learn from some of these guys. So check out those videos. At the end of this video, I'll be putting a playlist if you want to take a look at any of that. But John, my man, champion, thank you so much for coming down. Any last things you want to say? Maybe shout out some people from the team or anything before we go?
No, just big shout out to all of the team. Agent, Ghost, Jethro, myself, Boone, and then just all of the people who help us base test a lot, Chiku, Melvin, and the guys who help organize for us, especially Gum and Hold My Beer. And yeah, big shout out to everyone at Space Station Gaming. It's nice to finally get a title under our belts.
A lot of good players and good people on that list you just mentioned. So, my friend, thank you again. I'd love to have you back again because you really do break this down incredibly. It makes me feel like I could just go do this attack right now. I'm that confident, although I could guarantee I wouldn't have the same result. But it takes practice and a ton of friendly challenges. People need to remember that. They just can't watch this video and then go out and think that they could 3-star every base, right?
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
Yep, that's exactly it. But John, where can people find you if they want to hit you up somewhere else?
You can find me on Twitter, SSG John.
Sounds good. I'll be leaving links to SSG John in the description of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and found it valuable. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts, and if you want to see more pro tips from the guys over at Space Station Gaming. Have a great day, guys. Thanks, John, for coming through.
Cheers, mate.
And be good.